I've named this tip Master the Simpler Tasks because there are a handful of very useful tools that can make working with Excel much easier. You might be familiar with some of these from a previous basic Excel training, or you happen to stumble on this feature by yourself. I just had to be sure that you knew of these because it's important for any Excel user to know them and be familiar with them. Here's a list of features we'll be covering. Always update your quick access bar by including the buttons and the commands that you most use. You can also add features from third-party add-ins. Basically, this toolbar acts like your favorites. It saves you time so you don't need to switch between the different ribbon tabs and look for the button you need. This is my quick access bar, and it includes the features I need most. To add something to this bar, all you have to do is to right mouse click and select Add to Quick Access Toolbar. You can also add buttons for specific features that are only available if you have that feature activated. So for example, if you have charts, you get more options. If you have pivot table, you get different options. So if you'd like to add a pivot table button, if you already have a pivot table, in this case I have one here, you just find the button that you want. Let's say I would like to add this field list. I right mouse click and I select Add to Quick Access Toolbar. I can see it here. It's only activated if I'm working in a pivot. So if I would go back to my sheet here, you can see it's grayed out. Now, if I didn't have a pivot included in this workbook, but I would like to have a specific pivot table feature, I can go to this little arrow here and select More Commands. Here you get control over everything. It's sorted by popular commands, and then you can see commands not in the ribbon and all commands macros. And here is the order that you see your tabs in. And these are the ones that are generally hidden from view and only appear if you have that feature activated. In our case, let's say we want to add the refresh button for the pivot table. I can find it under Pivot Table Tools Options tab, and it's always alphabetically sorted. So we go down to R, and we can see the refresh options. This is the main option. You see the arrow here. These are the sub options. So I'm going to select the main one and add it to my list. What helps to organize this list is to add the separator. And the separator is basically this line here. You can see I have one here and here. It's a little line that provides a visual separation between your buttons. So if I wanted to add one right before my pivot, I just click on the separator, put Add, and then push it up using these buttons. The other option that you have is to select if you want your Quick Access Toolbar to be the default for all your workbooks, or if you want to add specific features only for this specific workbook. So if this is a workbook where I work with pivots a lot, but in general I don't need them, I can add the pivot features only to this, and it will only show up when I open this workbook. So I would basically remove them from here and then go to this view and push them back in here. The other advantage of using the Quick Access Toolbar is that each command has a specific keyboard shortcut. So if you click the Alt key, you can see that you have the 1, 2, 3, 4 here. This is my print preview one. So if I would now press 4, I come to print preview. Now if I wanted the print preview to be Alt 1 or Alt 2, I just have to change the order in the Customize Quick Access Bar section. So I push it here, And now Alt 2 is going to be Print Preview and Print. Now let me show you how you can update your ribbon. Just be aware that updating the ribbon is only possible from Excel 2010 onwards. You can see that I've updated mine and I've included a Layla tab where I have included the features I need most. In this case, these are relevant for charting. The advantage of creating it in the ribbon and not up here is that you have the ability to organize it more. To customize your ribbon, you go to File, Options, Customize Ribbon. Here you have all the commands, and these are your tabs. So you can see this is mine, and I can uncheck it. It will disappear from there, but it will not delete it. It's still there, so if I would ever want to activate it, I can come back and activate it again. Now let's add a new one. The first step is to select New Tab. Then we can rename it. And now we can add different groups to this. So let's say I would like to have a group for formatting. Then I need to search for the feature, the command that I need. So let's say I would like to have this, so I can drag and drop it under here. I can go to commands not in the ribbon, select some paste special options such as paste formatting, paste values. This one I also have in my quick access bar because a lot of times I need to copy data that have formulas behind them, but I want to paste it just as values without the formulas. Then to add a second group, rename this to, for example, shapes. Okay, now to find the shape options, I can go to All tabs. And down here, I see the ones that, again, only get activated if that specific feature is activated. I will now see my favorites here. This helps me to become faster because I don't always have to switch between the different tabs to find the commands I use most. I just come here and have access to my most needed ones. If you don't want your additional tab anymore, you can easily remove this by going back. To fully remove this, you click Remove. Taking the time to update your quick access toolbar and your ribbon options really pays off because it makes you faster and gets your commands more organized. Grouping rows or columns together makes it easy to organize larger spreadsheets with a lot of data. So when you group rows or columns together, Excel collapses them and shows only the last row or column. I would suggest that you generally group cells instead of hiding them from view. The advantages are 1. Visibility, because that immediately signals if you have any hidden rows or columns and it avoids errors. 2 is that groupings support multiple levels, which means that you can have multiple levels of hierarchies, and that's not possible if you were hiding rows or columns from view. To group cells, you just have to highlight the ones you want to group and go to Data, Group. You get this minus plus button so you can collapse it or expand it. You can have subgroups as well, so if I wanted to include a subgroup here, I'd click Group again. And you can see I have this subgroup and this group. You also get these additional buttons here so you can collapse everything at once. You can expand everything at once as well, or you can decide to just expand or collapse the subgroups. To ungroup, all you have to do is highlight the section that you want to ungroup, go here and select Clear Outline. Aside from groupings allowing you to hide columns and rows in a better way than hide does, it also allows you to create automatic subtotals. So let's say in this case, I have my company's location, items, price, and sales value. I would like to get a total for company A, company B, and company C. All I have to do is highlight this section, click on subtotal. I can select if I want the subtotal to be by company or by location. In this case, it's by company. I want it to be the sum. You have additional options here. In this case, we'll stick to sum. And then I can decide what do I want to sum. So let's say I do want to sum sales and I do want to sum the items. So I tick mark this as well. And here you also get the option to include a page break between groups. So if you wanted to print this out, let's say if this was an invoice that you were creating, you wanted to print it out, you can tick mark this as well. And you can also say if you want the summary below the data. Automatically, I get all these subgroups and the main group. I also get the page breaks included, which makes it easy if I want to print this. If now I wanted additional subtotals for the location in there, I can go back to subtotal and select location. I want the sum, items, and sales. I don't want to replace the current subtotal, and I also don't want to have additional page breaks here. Now I get a subtotal for Germany, for Denmark, UK, and so on. To remove all of this, you go back to subtotal and select Remove All. So don't forget about the outline options that you have, because they are quite useful in automatically generating subtotals and organizing larger spreadsheets. The Paste Special options provide some useful tools that allow you to manipulate the values before pasting. Many people overlook some of these options here. Let me show you the most useful ones. Paste as values. This hard codes the values and takes away the formula behind them. Paste comments. Basically paste only the comments attached to the cells without the values in the cell and the cell formatting. Paste skip blanks is a tricky one because of the way it's called. What it does is that it pastes only the cells that aren't empty. So if you're pasting blank cells over cells that have data, the values will not be pasted over. This will make more sense to you when I show it in action. Paste transpose changes the orientation of the copied entries. So if you're copying data in a single column and you paste it as transpose, it pastes in a single row. Paste formatting, paste only the formatting without the cell values. Paste link, pastes formula links to the copied cells. You can also use operations on cells to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. So let's have a look at these in action. Pasting as values is something you're probably familiar with. So if you have a formula here, and you want to only copy the cell and not the formula reference, because if I just copy and paste, I get relative formula reference. So if I just want the value, I can do Control-C, Paste Special, and select Values. So this copies it without the formula. To copy comments, so let's say I have a comment here. And I only want to copy this comment. without copying the cell or the formatting of the cell, I do Control C on the cell and go here, under Paste Special, select Comments. The Paste Skip Blanks option does this. So let's say this cell is empty. If I copy this and paste this here, you see it copied the empty cell as well. Now if I copy this, and instead of pasting this normally, skip blanks, okay, look what happens. My 53 stays. So it skips this blank cell and leaves my value that was originally in the cell untouched. Okay, let's do Control Z. Paste transpose. So I copy this here, and I go here and select Paste Special Transpose. It puts everything from the column in the row. Paste formatting, paste only the formatting without the cell values. So if I do Control C here and highlight this, Paste Special, Formats, my formatting is updated, my cell values are untouched. Paste link, let's copy these here. Paste link is down here. You can see they are now formulas that are attached to this cell. So if I change this value, this changes as well. And lastly, we have our operators. So if I copy this and go here, so let's say these are my new sales values coming in, these are my existing sales values, and I want to add this to this without a formula. I can do that with the Paste Special options by selecting Add. There was no formula needed. It adds the value of this cell to this one. And notice the way I did it. First I highlighted it, then I pressed Control C. I then went to the cell where I want these values to be added to this. And then I clicked on Add. So you have additional options. You can subtract, multiply, and divide. These options can come in handy because they can help you avoid some intermediary steps. So I really suggest that you take some time and have a more detailed look at the Paste Special options.